Welcome to another week of live trading. This is for the month of March 2024. First trade of the week goes to Nokia under the 1 minute. I also tried this LI, which gapped down on EV news. Threw out an order under the 2 minute as it broke the whole number at 35, but it skipped it even though I gave it to 34.96 and was hoping it'll fill me on some sort of bounce, but it never did. Ended up working really nicely and then only to end up killing the one I did get, the Nokia, as it flipped. Then I tried to get the BW as it broke a buck, but got filled very little on this drop. But this TEL I was able to get filled on for the most part. Before it became hard to borrow, I shorted it off the breakdown on the 5 minute. It's a penny stock. And surprisingly worked out much better than I anticipated because I didn't really like the daily chart on it. And then didn't trade much for the afternoon, and that's kind of been the theme lately. It would have been a pretty nice day to start the week if I was able to get filled on that LI at the open. Tuesday, first trade was the CADX, which gapped up on collaboration news. Tried over the 5 minute high-low with the hopes of it breaking out on that daily resistance. I did notice the spread was 3 cents, so undersized it. Also like the GWAV short, but this one wasn't available for me both on TOS and E-Trade, so I had no choice but to let it go. And then I decided to add a little bit to that CADX as it got a little pop, but it just couldn't break out over that daily resistance, and I ended up trailing it under that 5 minute reversal bar for a small loss. Then I shorted the SPACE, which stayed weak off of yesterday's sell-off. Was a bit difficult to get filled on, so I was trying on both platforms. Always gets a bit trickier when managing the same position on 2 different platforms, but ended up breaking down for a few cents and was able to exit both where I wanted. While that was going on, I also went after the DLO, which reported earnings. I tried to short off the 15 minute, but wasn't liking how it was trading, so I decided to trail tight and killed it over that 2 minute bar. Then I went back to the SPACE because I noticed it stayed weak and re-shorted it. But this time it decided to pop against me, did not like my exit, and gave back about an R on it. Then re-shorted it again in the afternoon as it set up another breakdown on the 15, which didn't end up really going anywhere and time ran out. And that was the day. Wednesday, I had to leave early for a school interview for Tyson. We've been looking at some kindergartens for him, so it was going to be a shorter morning for me. I went after this Trug, which gapped up because they got an AI tech licensing agreement. This one had a decent pullback for a buy setup, so I got some over that 1 minute bar. What looked like it was a decent start here to retest the highs, it completely just fell apart and failed, stopping me out. I actually ended up losing more than an R on it because I got some slippage on the way out. And I get asked quite often whether I use a hard stop or a mental stop. I actually use both. In this case, it was just a mental stop because I'm watching it in real time. And this is the only trade I'm in and focused on. So as I'm reading price action, once it hits my stop, I get out the trade manually using my hotkeys. Now, this is one of those situations where it might have been better to have a hard stop. Maybe I get filled a cent or two better. We'll never really know for sure because it jumped below my stop price. But even then, I kind of like watching it in real time and just reading it because sometimes they tend to be shakeouts and go back up and I'm able to get out where I want. But of course, it can also keep going against me as well. So it's kind of a give and take. But the most important thing is that I actually do take my stops and move on. And then I use hard stops if I'm in multiple trades or if I have to step away for whatever reason. So I like to use both. Moving on, then I tried scalping the TEL short as a breakdown, but it had a nasty flip against me and lost another R on that as well. So down 2 Rs to kick off the morning. I usually try to take it easy until the afternoon if I start the day taking 2 full stops. So it was kind of good that I had to step away for the school interview, but also sucks because the afternoons have been dead lately. There's almost nothing to do. All the action has been in the morning, so I also hated that I had to step away because I felt like it was going to be very hard to recover once I got back.
A few moments later.
But once I got back, I came across the RLX, which wasn't on my gaps list, but I noticed a late afternoon base breakout over the 15 while I was scanning, so I got in it long. Had a nice pop, but was kind of undersized since I wasn't trying to be too aggressive right as I sat back down into the trading session, so only made about an R on it, and then didn't do anything else. So wasn't able to recover, but at least I was able to mitigate the loss. Not sure how the rest of the morning would have played out, but we got a red day. Thursday, first trade was the SCS. This one gapped on earnings. Tried to short under the 2 minute 123. Definitely had some spread on it. Ended up failing, so I killed it over the 5 minute for a small loss. Then I tried the DRI short, which also gapped on earnings. Also under the 2 minute as a breakdown. Also killed it early as I noticed a breakdown failure. I mean, I feel like the environment right now is pretty tough to get really great follow through, which is why my management has been a lot tighter than normal lately. And it seems like it's been the correct move for the most part. These definitely would have taken the rest of my lunch money. Then I shorted some of the 5, which also reported earnings. Got in it on the secondary breakdown. This one kind of felt late, but it ended up working out a bit for about an hour. Then didn't do much else for the rest of the day. Just some scalps here and there. Nothing much out there. Then Friday, there were only a few symbols I liked, the Lulu and the Nike, both retail stocks which reported earnings. I got some of the Lulu short under the 2-minute right here. Then try to add to it under the 5-minute 1, 2, 3, 4, just a quarter of my position, so like 25 shares, because the original stop was pretty tight, but it didn't fill me on the ad. I ended up taking half here as it broke to new lows, which was target 1 for me. So took it over that 1 minute, which is pretty tight for this stock. Then took another lot over the 2 minute as it made new lows. Didn't really like my exit here because it was just grinding lower. But the problem with something like Lulu is the spread. Couple ticks in the wrong direction, I'm giving back a lot if it pops. So decided to trail a bit tight here. Then I tried to get the Nike, which was my other top watch. But this, I just missed the entry, didn't have an order ready, and got to it too late for that 1 minute breakdown. So just waved it goodbye. Going back to the Lulu, the last lot, which is pretty much the victory lap piece, I ended up trailing on the 5 minute. I wish I got that lot I tried to add earlier, because then that could have been my victory lap piece to trail on the 15, but ended up still making over 2 Rs on it. Then the tail from earlier this week has been falling apart on the daily. Saw a breakdown on the intraday off the 5 minute, so got some short. Ended up working and got out where I wanted. And then afternoon, you guessed it, didn't do anything else and called it a week. So, like I said, all the action has been in the morning lately. And just to be clear, when I say that, I mean in terms of what I like to do and trade. I come across tons of setups and ideas all the time in the afternoon, but I only like to go after high quality items. So I've been sitting on hands a lot lately, which I think is just as important as knowing how to trade. So hope you enjoyed another week of trading. Hope you're doing well in your trading, staying out of trouble. As always, thank you for being here, and I hope to see you on the next one.